Hello, dear folks. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow on the East-West Show with the G&E TV with lots of pride. For years and for month after month, day after day, we never miss a chance to put in the information for you we believe necessary for you to know. Luckily, for the last year and a half, I do not need to pick what's important, what's the headline, because our President Donald Trump is making a headline every single day. I don't have to dig for a headline. Anyway, that's good. That's very good. And that means he's responsible, he's becoming or getting or being responsible for our beautiful country, right? So with me today talking about our headline president, Donald Trump, is my good friend, Ken Hemming, who I like so much, who I trust so much, to an extent that I can argue with him to whatever extent, and I'm rest assured that we will still be friends, if not more.
Eternally.
Eternally. Okay. And sometimes I really hate. I say, okay, come on, can you think my way? And he probably would do the same thing.
Right.
Right?
I never give up hope.
Okay, very
on
good.
The evolution of your mind.
He is a board member of PCC, Pasadena College Foundation, and he is a glorious Rotarian.
Yes, sir.
And he is a dead-fast Republican.
Constitutional originalist is what
yeah,
I am.
I know.
Yeah.
That's extra.
I can go either way.
That's redundant. That's redundant. Just a dead-fast Republican. No. You were kind of a more of the liberal kind of Republican, not the establishment kind, right?
I'm not establishment.
All right, very good.
Right.
Anyway, whatever you are, you're a Republican. I'm nothing. I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. I just want to stay in the middle of the road so that I have friends from left and to right.
You're fair and balanced, just like Fox News.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That said, it doesn't mean that as a man I do not have a take.
True.
As a man who breathes, who eat and drink, I deserve
emotions.
To have my own, a take on my own.
Exactly.
Whatever I say, whatever I declare or make a statement, I always try to make a statement on behalf of myself. And it is that I, on behalf of myself, I, Jack Chow, will declare that whatever I say within the frame of myself.
Yes.
Right. It doesn't represent the station, the channel, the organization, whoever, right? So, and sometimes it doesn't represent my crew. Right?
That's true.
I'm the one. Okay, anyway.
That's true.
With Ken Hemming, I really want to touch base with you about the recent firing of the FBI director.
Correct.
And the controversy is there, it's getting more and more, and the exposure is there, it's getting more and more. I recall last week when you were here, you kind of telling me there was nothing to be investigated.
Well, so regarding Comey.
Are you still saying the same thing, please?
Oh, you know, at points in time, the top Republicans and the top Democrats both made incredibly negative comments about Comey and that he should be removed because he kind of vacillated a little bit with Hillary and with Trump and whatever. And
in the sense of what? In the sense of?
The Democrats thought that Comey, 11 days before the election, reopened the investigation because they found 6,000 more emails to do with Anthony Weiner, who's Uma Abedin's husband. And as a matter of fact, today he's in court and will be sentenced to something like 25 months or something for illicit.
No, 41 to 47 months.
Okay, yeah. And
between 41 to 47.
Because what he did is just really stupid and pathetic and sick.
And what does that have anything to do with the Comey firing?
Well, because Uma Abedin, Hillary's top aide, was sending top secret information, and Hillary was to Anthony Weiner so he could print it out, and he did not have a top secret clearance. And then you get mixed up some of his pornography stuff with business for the United States, top secret. It's really kind of embarrassing and shocking and sad.
In other words, he was fired for his poor performance at work.
Comey performed very poorly. He went beyond the definition of the powers of the FBI director, and because it's an investigative unit, and he went into prosecutorial decision making, which is just plain wrong.
Was there ever a investigation of Trump connection or Trump's team connection with Russia ever conducted?
Oh, it's been conducted for a year and a half, because they've been, crying about it. So yeah, it's all in process. And then what happened now, where they assigned a counsel to investigate it. You only assign a counsel that does this independent investigation, or Mr. Mueller, who was a previous FBI director, when there's a crime or some evidence indicative of a crime has been committed, and there's not one shred of evidence in all the time that everybody's looked at everything, and you've got all the leakers in Washington, D.C. and America now, like we've never had before. There's not one evidence, and Putin over there says America's just acting ridiculously stupid because we didn't do anything. No, that's the boss of Russia. And so I don't think ever before has there been a special counsel assigned, designated to investigate something when there's no evidence of any crime ever being committed.
Are you talking about congressional investigation, or are you talking about FBI investigation?
No, that's within the FBI.
FBI,
That's
right?
within the FBI, yeah.
So is FBI investigation supposed to be independent?
Well, of course.
All right.
However, often it's not, because there's leaks coming out of very many government institutions by very partisan people, because they're just ignoring the law.
Okay, with or without a finding in favor or not in favor to Donald Trump, investigation is investigation. Do you recognize that as a fact piece?
Every investigation so far, which is ongoing daily for months and months, has found nothing. Zero evidence of any misconduct by Trump.
Okay.
Zero.
Well, we can say that for time being now.
Well, the whole reason.
But as we speak, there are more stuff being exposed.
That's not true. What's exposed?
As of this morning, as of last night, they keep on exposing.
Tell me
about the letter, about the acknowledgement of Comey being fired, to be fired even before the letter, so on and so forth, and then the comment, the present comment. The present comment says, "I hope he find nothing." The word "hope" confirms that there was an investigation that he was aware of.
But not of President Trump. President Trump, Comey said 3 times, the president is not being investigated. Russia's activities to try to influence elections, which America has done also. President Obama put 300,000 taxpayers into trying to get Netanyahu.
Are you talking about the president immunity?
No, not at all.
Yeah, you're not, right?
No.
Okay, we're talking about independent FBI investigation.
And often the independence is not handled in a pure
I
way.
know.
Yeah.
That's the eyesore of our system, right? Even though we're talking about present as the representative of the execution branch, all right?
Of the executive branch, yes.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Executive branch.
They want to execute them.
No, of course. Executive branch,
That's
right? And then we have the judicial branch, and we have the congressional branch.
Yes, sir.
Right? Well, okay, which is the constitution branch. Okay, now, altogether, you're talking about checks and balances, right?
Right.
And the FBI belongs to the government.
The Department of Justice.
Department of Justice.
Yes.
Doesn't belong to the government, does it?
Well, it's part of the government. The Department of Justice, it's not part of those 3, but no, the Department of Justice is certainly part of the government.
FBI is supposed to be a branch or whatever of DOJ.
Underneath the DOJ, yeah.
Underneath the DOJ.
Correct.
So DOJ is independent. Right?
Well,
Department of Justice is independent.
See, the FBI, since I've been aware of being alive, Jack, has also always been something that I was so enamored with and so proud of and so respectful to. And I go, wow, I wish I would be good enough to be an FBI agent. But now it's really been tarnished with these activities the last few years, and it's really quite sad. And you know, when we had there's a list of 20 scandals.
That's exactly why I said just now what I said.
Okay.
Because I feel sad about it too.
I do.
Something
they're not revered.
Something which is supposed to be independent now getting kind of influenced.
It's been a role model all over the world for true investigative talents.
Regardless of Hillary, regardless of Trump, right? Regardless of Hillary Clinton, regardless of Donald Trump, we are seeing the FBI investigation being.
Well, it's being imperfect.
I mean, being
impure.
Influence.
Yes.
Impure now.
Right.
Impure now. Okay, now, remember last time when you were here, you and I were talking about the firing. I mentioned at one point that he was supposed to be fired right at a time when he made a very poor performances regarding the Hillary investigation.
Well, and he really should have been fired by Obama at that time. He reported to Obama then.
Okay.
And I mean, he really should have, because what he did, he goes 13 minutes of explaining all of the misdeeds.
If it had been because of his poor performances, his quote-unquote poor performances drags over from the Obama time.
And let me say this is sort of a fantasy thinking, but I think it might even be correct. And that is, had he then, after spending 13 minutes explaining the misdeeds of Clinton, recommended an indictment, I'll bet you possibly Obama would have fired him right then.
And then he said, however, we're not pressing charges. We're not pursuing any prosecution.
And there was no logical connection.
And that is the moment. That was the moment he was supposed to be fired by whoever.
Right, for just... Right?
Now, the fact he was not fired was an indication that confirms that was accepted as a norm, accepted as something he was doing right. Now, at this very moment, when everybody talks about Trump's connection with Russia, and yet, in fact, he was engaged himself in the investigation of Trump connection with Russia, he was fired. Is there something strange?
Well, don't forget, we can't just use the words Trump connection to Russia. There is no evidence of a Trump connection to Russia. Now, President Trump did disclose business activities he had in the past, selling a very expensive property, $100 million or something, to a Russian billionaire. That's fine. This is before. That's fine.
No, he can't even do it now.
Yeah, right.
I have no problem with that.
Right, but he doesn't do it now because he's not doing his business. He turned it over to his kids. But so he disclosed that were in various tax returns he had filed, profits or losses on activities with Russian people. Okay, not the government, but people, because they got a lot of money over there. They got from various sources.
Put it this way: if you, Ken Hamming, is conducting now an investigation that's accusing me I robbed a bank last night or last month, right? I would say, welcome to do so. Be my guest.
Absolutely, because you know you didn't do it. 100%.
I don't have to say anything else.
That's right.
Yeah,
go ahead, do whatever you want.
I say, please.
Yeah.
Let them do it.
Right.
Let Mr. Ken Hamming do it.
Yeah. But
I hope he enjoys it.
But here's what's happening, in my opinion. The Democratic establishment. Well, let me just say, wants to keep this in front of the public up until the elections for 2018.
That was not what I'm asking. I was asking you that when I say, go ahead, Ken Hamming, go ahead, investigate whatever you want to do.
Right.
Okay, you said the suspicion of I robbed a bank last month. Go ahead, do it.
And Trump has said that. He said, go ahead.
Enjoy doing that. Enjoy doing that. Has Trump said anything like I said?
Absolutely. Yes, several times.
When
he said,
and where?
Go ahead and, when and where. I've seen him say the words on TV many times. He said, he thinks it's, because there is no proper reason proper that a special counsel should be assigned when there's no indication other than the fantasy statements.
All right, okay, all right.
None.
Let's take a short break on this one. We come back for something else, all right? Okay. There are more issues than that to talk about with our lovely president. So stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hello, my dear audience, my lovely audiences, with my lovely guest, Ken Hemming. Ken Hemming is really a lovely guest because, well, I should say
I'm a good boy.
You look exactly, you have the resemblance, a strong resemblance of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, Pasadena, Donald Trump, West Covina, something like that.
That's what they call me, the Donald Trump of Pasadena.
Okay, so welcome back to the discussion between Jack Chow and Donald Trump of Pasadena, Mr. Ken Hemming.
Yeah.
All right, so, and the Republican wearing a Republican tie. Yes, we're talking about Donald Trump, our president. We're talking about his firing of FBI Director Comey. And Comey himself, of course, did not just take it easy. All right? He, of course, I believe he had more to say still in days to come.
Now, one thing that I really would like to share, and you'll agree with this, I think President Trump should have made sure Comey was in town when he fired him because he was in Los Angeles. And it would have been nice, I think, for President Trump to call him or to visit him and say, "Sir, you're being fired." That would be a softer way, I think, to do it.
That's not Donald Trump. We excuse him for that style already. That's out of question.
Well, his TV show, you're fired.
Yeah, to 85% of Americans, we recognize, we accept that that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a Trump style.
Yeah. And there's no question in my mind.
And there's a friend on my show once said jokingly that sometimes he plays with more than one deck or half a deck, or extra king, extra queen, or two shores, whatever. That's a norm.
Well, so I think we all agree.
We don't argue with that.
President Trump is a very highly intelligent man.
Oh, he may be. I don't argue with that. Yeah. He's got a higher IQ than I am.
Right.
That's for sure.
And you and I put
together.
I
am talking about to those extent that the public would accept. Now, the public has already accepted the fact that he fired Comey without a proper procedure.
Well, it was
just saying that you are fired like that on the TV, that's fired. When somebody saw that, tells Comey, say, "Hey, you're fired." I said, "Huh?"
No, I know. He was in L.A.
He was in L.A. He was caught in a surprise.
And there were television cameras behind the people he was talking to, which were potential FBI agents that wanted to become an agent. And he saw this on the TV, and Comey thought that it was a joke that they were doing.
Yeah, he thought it was a joke, and that's why he flew.
And then, holy cow, it wasn't.
Holy cow, he flew back to Washington right away.
Right away,
okay, now,
post haste.
That is the Trump style. We do not argue that much as we used to be. The thing is that as a president of the United States, you really want to know you do your things well planned.
Yes.
All right. Has he fired Comey out of the kind of in an impromptu way, or has he done it with a strategic plan?
Well, I think he did it because he needed to be fired. He was hurting the reputation of the FBI. The last thing, though, the last
he was
straw
not hurting the reputation of the FBI.
Of course he was
hurting the reputation of the President of the United States.
No, he had no impact on the President of the United States. When he laid out the 13 minutes of misdeeds by Hillary Clinton, and then had no connection, and he just usurped the prosecutorial powers of the Department of Justice. Because see, Loretta Lynch, after she met with Clinton on an airplane, which was almost was despicable to do that. Okay, then she was not allowed to function as Attorney General. But then that responsibility for deciding whether to press charges should go to whoever the deputy the person under her. But Comey took it upon himself to make a prosecutorial decision that he was not authorized to do. And he did it. And that buried him. And then when he testified in Congress 2 weeks ago or something on a Wednesday, and he made several statements that just happened to be, and we can all make that mistake. And then they had to come out and pretend.
You're saying, or I would say the part of your side, people on your side is saying that Donald Trump has fired Mr. James Comey for the poor performance when he was handling the Hillary Clinton investigation.
That and testifying before Congress.
And he made mistakes. All right. And then Donald Trump stood for justice for something that he hasn't done properly during the past ways. Am I right?
Right.
Okay, now, the other side of the public is saying that Donald Trump has fired him for his own protection because he was engaging himself in another investigation of Donald Trump connection with Russia before, during, and even after, shortly after the election.
But that's really not accurate because Comey said 3 times that President Trump is not under investigation.
Let's do this. We mark the day today, and we mark the time.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I believe that my people, my crew, they keep good log.
Yes.
Right. So wait for 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. I'm projecting for 2 weeks.
Okay.
When more things pop out, more findings pop out. Right?
There's been no findings to pop out.
And I hope. Okay. Sure. You can say that. You can predict that.
Well, no. In terms of evidence,
my prediction is that there are going to be more evidence, new evidence is showing up.
There's no old evidence.
So once the new evidence shows up, you and I will talk about it. How about that?
I want to do that, and I would bet my life that President Trump did not do anything colluding with Russia that could impact. And President Obama himself said it's impossible to invade our electoral system.
Like I said before, like I said just now, before walking in the studio, I said, I will fight for your freedom of speech.
Right, and then are you saying, because I'm really curious if it's true, do you believe President Trump and Putin did anything together that impacted our election at all? And maybe you don't know.
I suspect.
Okay, and I suspect not.
Okay. Anyway, all right. Let's see. Let's see. You want to gamble a little bit?
Yeah.
$100?
One finger.
No, $100.
Okay,
I don't have that many fingers.
$100.
All right, $100. Okay, very good.
Okay.
And my audience will just help mark that handshake. All right, very good. So, get away from that, please.
Yes, sir.
Show it. Okay. Now we want to see Donald Trump has done something very good, very well.
Many good things.
And to the Belt and the Road Summit in China.
Yes.
He and his administration made the last moment decision to join.
Okay.
To go there.
Oh, they did. Okay. I didn't even see that.
You didn't know that?
Well, sometimes I'm not very bright.
All right, you're not very well informed.
Because they weren't going to. Yeah, right.
They weren't going to.
Thank you.
But till the last moment, they weren't going to until the last moment. When I say last moment, till it was to extend, the decision has just left enough time to fly.
Good. Okay. Good. No.
It takes 14 hours.
Yeah.
To fly from there to there.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah. It left probably enough time just doing that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm so glad that he and his administration made the right decision to join.
Well, it's a very big activity that China is leading in.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Humongous. And you know, they believe they're going to make some money off of these investments globally, and also then we believe that it will help the lifestyle of the people impacted in those countries.
Yeah, exactly.
So it should be theoretically a win-win.
And the effect is even longer than you could think.
Oh yeah.
The impact, right? You're talking about when China just spread some money, the investigation
Yeah.
around the Belt and the Road
Right.
with all the areas, the countries.
Yeah.
That means their buying ability, their buying ability
Yeah.
is increased.
Yeah, the
And
value
the
of the money.
market is increased. For that, United States doesn't want to say, hey, I have nothing to do. I'll be
Yeah,
a bystander. I'll just watch. No.
Well,
You want to get involved.
You know, as we said recently, the closer America and China work together, and our political differences of the way the countries are run are shrinking.
Take you and I,
They're
for
shrinking.
example. Take you and I, for example,
Right.
right? Is there differences? There's a lot of difference.
Well, there's some background cultural differences. However, you
Of
have
course.
chosen to become an American citizen and accept America as your
Which
second
I
homeland.
do.
Yes,
This is my homeland.
you're both.
My homeland, they both are.
Yeah.
But thing is that between you and I, conceptually, we never get a 100% agree to each other.
Right.
Right?
In-
Okay, let difference remain. Between
yeah.
countries as the U.S. and China, why don't we do the same thing?
We're doing it. It's coming.
All right, very good.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm so glad, as a host, as show host, I'm so glad that the United States made the right decision. When I say United States, we say now, of course, the Donald Trump administration, right? Made the right decision to send somebody over there to show face, to say, I'm involved. Well, I'm in. Okay,
And
let's play together.
And remember the joy we felt when President Xi, was at Donald Trump's house by the front door,
Yes.
which is saying, "Come to my home, not just my country." And it was a beautiful deal.
It was a beautiful statement.
It was.
And the way he handled everything at that meeting was kind of like a landmark.
I wanted to be there.
Landmark.
I wanted to
I
be
wanted to
there.
be there too.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear friends, we're playing fairly. We're giving Donald Trump an A+ in the way when he handles relationship between U.S. and China. Do you
Yes.
think he deserves A+?
Well, I hope we get a couple more pluses on it later.
Let's see.
Let's see.
I'm concerned.
We
with you on
believe.
that. Okay.
We're optimists.
Let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll see if he gets anything with his international policies or relationship with any of the A or A+ or B+ or whatever. Okay, stay with us, please. Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on East West Show with lots of pride with G&E TV. Today, our subject is Trump under attack.
Yes.
Well, quote unquote, of course, quote unquote. Trump is under attack. Trump under attack because over the firing of FBI Director James Comey, and he's got lots of attack from different angles, and very controversial. We try to play fairly. We don't want to stand to the left or to the right. We stand in the middle of the road. As a news media, we want to wait to see more things pop up. How about that?
Every day, a new experience.
With me, my good friend Ken Hemming, the Donald Trump of Pasadena. We're talking about our Donald Trump, our lovely president. And we confirm one thing: the way of firing, the performance itself of firing FBI director was quite abnormal, but we accept it already. That's the Trump style. That's not a problem.
It doesn't happen often, yes.
Okay. To go back a little bit, we've been scoring him, and we gave him an A+. When he went to his handling of U.S.-China relationship, including the president visit from China to the United States and to his own house.
Yes.
Including the fact that the final decision was made by his administration to go over there to attend the summit.
Yeah.
Right? For
Great.
those who gave him a A+. We rewind a little bit back to the performance of the firing on the firing of the FBI director, you want to give him an A or B or a C or a D or an F?
Well, I give him an A because it needed to be done. Now, in what happens, in my opinion, no matter what day he fired him, whether it was back on Inauguration Day or any day thereafter, people are going to come, because he has enemies that really are serious enemies with no value system of dignity.
Rivals, put it that way, rivals, right?
There were
domestically, you're not talking about enemies.
Yes.
Opponents, how about that?
Enemies.
Opponents or rivals. You really insist on using the word enemies?
Well, I have created a new word that, whether you allow me to share it with people today in the definition of it or not.
Which is what?
Well, let me just say this. I've been called everything, okay? I've been called a homophobe, a xenophobe, really, Islamophobe, okay? I created a new word in fighting back.
All right, which is what?
May I show it? May I do it?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
trust me.
Okay, sure, I trust you.
And this is something that I'm going to try to promote.
You come prepared, okay?
And I've been called every name, and fortunately, call me anything. It doesn't bother me.
Hold on to that.
Okay.
I just want you to discuss with me or to capitulate, if possible, if necessary, that you really want to use the word enemy?
Yes.
Yes.
Because they want to, that's what this is
that's
all about.
another discussion. Another discussion. We'll hold on to that.
problem.
Right? Okay. Now, for that, you give him an A, not an A plus, because like you said, quote unquote, he should be fired in a different way.
Well, no, he should be fired, but no matter what day that President Trump would fire him, the opposition, the resistance is what they call themselves. Resistance is not an honorable word if you look around the history of resistances in different countries. But they would find that was the wrong time, that was the wrong time, that was the wrong time. They would never say that the timing was right. And if he did it right when he came in on Inauguration Day, they would say, wow, that's horrible.
You sure you want to give him an A, right?
Well, he did what needed to be done. Probably the way some of it was rolled out, maybe A minus.
A minus,
but
now
it had to be done.
Okay, very good. Okay, it has to be done. Okay, now we have an A. We have a minus, right? And we have an A now. So we have all A's so far.
A plus with China.
All right. No, A plus with China.
Yeah.
And now, at this moment, he is flying to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, and that. Planning visit to 5 countries.
Yes, sir.
Right, good. So how do you, now he's flying, has done anything yet.
Correct.
Right. So
and
how do you assess? Yeah, of course.
Very nice airplane.
I know everything's gold, right?
That's pretty, yeah,
everything's
that's
gold.
Right.
I was told that
true.
even the doorknob is gold.
I believe it.
Right, okay, very good. So how do you assess his handling of international problems?
Well, I think, see, here's the thing. He's getting out of town to get away from the chaos that's going on in Washington, D.C. And his strength is doing deals, and he's very comfortable with talking with other leaders of countries, which is sort of, because their deals that they talk about are really business deals. They're not philosophical deals, okay? We're not going to change Saudi Arabia's philosophy. And they're not going to change our commitment to freedom to the extent we still have it. And so he's going, I don't know the details of it, but they may be, with Saudi Arabia, entering into about $150 billion deal on defense for America. I don't know who does what in it, but it's a big, big thing. Now, I've never been a fan of Saudi Arabia. They've used oil as a great tool to harass the rest of the world. And if you go back to 1973 when they stopped production and we had gas lines in America that I was in, holy cow, it was very troubling times, okay?
I recall that.
Yeah, and so, and I, and they are the Saudis are kind of helping fight some of the radical Islamic
In short, what do
terrorists.
you think he's there for?
Well, we had one of the princes of Saudi Arabia in the White House recently, That's by the way, their robes are beautiful. I think they're great.
Oh yeah, I like their robes.
I like them.
And what is
right,
it?
the thing on their head.
The turban.
Well, they're not turbans, but they're another thing. Yeah.
Oh, what they call it,
right? But the turbans for India's.
I see.
But so I think President Trump is being very well accepted around the world as the spokesman for sort of a reemergence of America as the primary country for safety, security, and economic
he flies there? You think he's there for their gas, for their oil,
we don't need it anymore.
Yeah, all right. Or for their oil, or for our national defense.
I think it's for business relationship activities. Yeah, trade activities.
Trade. Okay.
And I'm not a fan of Saudi Arabia because it's because there's no difference between the religion and the government. In that
you don't have to be a fan yourself to Saudi Arabia. I'm talking about the way he is handling the problems. And speaking of handling the problems,
internationally he's spectacular.
Speaking of handling problems, he's got a Korea on his hand, right?
North Korea.
And the way he handled the Korean problems, how do you assess? How do you score him?
We, the United States, are very dependent on China to solve the North Korean situation. We can't do it by ourselves unless we just blow them off the face of the earth, because if they get nuclear weapons with the ability to deliver them to San Francisco, there's a big problem. And then many of us will die, and North Korea will no longer exist.
Of course,
So China is now not buying the coal from North Korea. North Korea's economy is like 80% dependent on China, and China basically can own North Korea and get what they want. And I just hope that President Xi keeps going in that way.
You're right. There is the American way, there is the Chinese way, there is the Trump way.
In the cooperative way.
The cooperative way, right? So the traditional American way would be that to kind of like attack it, to take care of the problem, because before problem happens.
Before they're able to kill us.
To get it omitted within overnight.
Right.
Within 1 hour, within 20 minutes, something like that.
It could be, right.
But the problem is, for that, you can take his traditional armories, traditional equipment, armories, equipment, but not nuclear power, nuclear thing.
Right.
Because you're talking about radiations. Suppose you have a tower there, right? You have a tower there. No matter the tower exists or you smash it, whatever, the radiation is still there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The contamination stays in the soil for 200,000 years.
Yeah. Right.
So suppose if you bomb it,
yeah,
it seems that either you fire the bomb or they fire the bomb.
I would say
it's still a bomb.
Our activity would not be of a nuclear nature, but also the things that's so difficult.
It will not work. Not work.
No, what's so difficult?
That will eliminate Korea. The same time, the world is getting finished.
And you're also, North Korea obviously is very close to South Korea, and they have, 60,000 artillery things facing South Korea that they could, I guarantee they're armed and loaded and ready to be pulled.
They're ready to fire.
So President
Trump.
But
the consequence is that with a nuclear element there, right, you can't just flip it over.
So yeah, President Trump, without the successful cooperation of China, can't solve this by himself.
The Chinese way is that say, hey, okay, here's my money ready to buy his gold. I want to put the money into your basket, give me your natural gas, and I'll stop buying from him, right? And I'll force him to come to the negotiation table.
And also, China has moved 150,000 soldiers to the border between North Korea and China.
No, just to get ready in case something happens.
To get ready in case, because also what
for
would
the
happen
refugees.
That's right, because there's only 22 million North Koreans, but it'd be easy to have a couple million trying to run into China for safety and escape.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the Trump way says, okay, let's do it, all right? I'll give you the natural gas. You come over here. Let's talk about it, right? I'll give you the natural gas. You give me the money, and then let's cut the Korean export of coal.
Right, which they've done.
Let them keep it themselves.
Right.
And they will starve themselves to death.
That's what, and there are people starving every day.
That's probably the way of handling it. To a certain extent, they probably could be pushed to the negotiation table to talk about it.
See, we have 300 and some million in America. We have 1.3 million.
303.
Okay, and we have 1.3 million in our armed services. There's 22 million North Koreans. They have 1.4 million in their military. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where all of their money goes to the military, and the peasants that are out there literally are starving
That's why they
to
have
death.
no food.
They have no food, they have no shoes, they have a lot of big problems.
All right, good.
But they haven't, the people haven't been able to.
For that handling, you give him an A or B or what?
I would say it's impossible to predict, because I have hope that China and America can solve it. Also at great risk, and we need them. Japan, very susceptible to aggressiveness by North Korea, very close.
So far, we want to give them both an A+.
Right now, with China and America really cooperating, I give both of them an A.
A+.
Because it looks good.
A or A+?
I'd say an A, because
A.
we've got to get that nuclear building stopped.
Okay, until then, we hold on to A.
Right.
Very good. Okay, my dear audiences, we are talking about how we want to assess the situation, as the title says, Trump under attack.
Very much.
We would say, on one hand, he's under attack. That's the beauty of the democracy. He may be under attack. He may be still recognized for having done an excellent job. With me in the discussion is my good friend, Ken Hemming, who I argue with all the time, and all same time is my good friend for life.
We enhance each other.
Yeah, very good. And brothers by different father.
Right.
Same mother. Okay, now, let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll still drag the focus over here to domestic, see what else he has done to deserve an A or B or C or D or even F. Right? So stay with us, please. Hello, my dear lovely folks. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow, in the discussion with my dear friend, Ken Hemming. Ken Hemming is referred to as the Donald Trump of Pasadena. Not only does he have the face of Donald Trump, but also he talks, thinks like a Donald Trump, right? So, kidding. We're trying to drag our president, Donald Trump, out of the quote-unquote situation saying that he's under attack. As a matter of fact, even though he still has done something very good, very recognizable, including his handling of U.S.-China relationship.
Yes.
Including his handling of the summit in Beijing.
Yes.
At which the final decision was made just in time to catch the action.
That was superb.
Okay. And the way of handling the Korean nuclear problem in a executive way, rather than
that's right.
Like that, hitting the point.
Right.
Which is good. Sometimes works. Right?
Absolutely. We hope so. Diplomacy is always a good choice.
All right. It's kind of deal. You're talking about businessman making deals. This is his expertise.
That's what he is.
Now, domestically, there are issues that we still need to talk about in order to find out his assessment, right? For example, last time, for the last few weeks, we've been talking about his 100-day plan. The 100 days have passed. There is no way to stick to the plan thing. We wanted to pick two issues. Number one, the Obamacare, the push of Obamacare.
Yes.
And number two, immigration.
Absolutely.
And by immigration, we're talking about resolution of the 11 million undocumented, and we're talking about the wall. Okay, now let's talk about his care, America Health Care Act.
Right.
So
well, and here, okay, the House, the Congress House has passed a bill, and now it's in the Senate. But the thing that is the big problem that has me so very disappointed is that the Republicans, many of the Republicans in the House and the Senate, are not committed to supporting President Trump to the degree that the voters who elected him for his agenda, they are being ignored. And so the arrogance and the egos of many of the elite Republicans, as well as most of the elite Democrats, is resisting the agenda of Trump that he was elected to execute. So he cannot pass a law by himself. In about 120 days he's been in, there's only been one act of Congress that was passed, and that's the American Health Care Act, and the Senate has passed nothing. And people are wondering, I'm wondering, what do they do all day? If they can't get together and propose bills and pass bills, they're worthless. I mean, why are they there if they're not getting anything done? In our budget, we're out of control with 10 more trillion in national debt under the Obama 8 years. And what are they doing? And also, everybody's afraid to deal with Social Security and retirement age and all that. 65 is an age that was selected 40 years ago.
As a Republican,
Yeah.
you may say so, because I don't blame you for saying that, because I understand you're a Republican.
No, I'm
As
an
a
American.
politician, as American,
Yeah.
right? As a sober-minded American, do you or have you or are you aware of the fact that our left and the right comes just an impasse?
I think that
It's just a tie, just an impasse now.
it's more than an impasse. But some of the rhinos, these Republicans in name only, they are not committed to the Trump agenda. And to be able to achieve his agenda, which includes tax reform, we can never forget that. That's huge.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
But
So-
because I do think on the immigration, we're making great progress. There's about 73% less people
stay on
crossing
the
our border.
impasse. Stay in the impasse, right?
Yeah.
So
The
I believe that it is important for us Americans to know that we are at a time when the two parties are coming together in the impasse.
Well, the Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party I grew up liking most of them.
No, I understand.
not.
I understand.
The
you may comment
Republican
on that.
Party
Republican
is still
neither.
constitutional
Neither.
oriented.
Divided. Okay, now, not only either is the country divided by the two parties, but also the party themselves. Okay, the Democratic,
Yeah.
so is the
Well, the Rep-
Republican.
like the-
they are divided by themselves.
Yeah, the Republican Party really does accept differences of opinion.
so,
Some
yes.
of- but
So-
in the say in the Democratic Party now,
so-
if you believe
Yeah.
if you're anti-abortion,
So when the efforts,
you're not welcome in
No,
their
all right.
party.
So
That's
when the efforts
insanity.
come together on an evenly basis, or 50-50 basis, there's nothing to be done because you're talking about the impasse.
There's
Am I
no
right?
well, yeah, it's a resistance led by Schumer, who is just a very, very
That's different
not
issues.
person.
By whom, because of whom, who to blame is
Yeah.
is not an issue.
By
the
the
issue
way-
is that we have to recognize we are at the impasse now.
in the Republicans do not fight as much with fervor to achieve our the agenda. They're too passive, where the Democrats are absolutely willing to do anything, including violence.
So you and I can confirm the impasse now, right?
The next two
So,
people that President Trump should fire are Paul Ryan and the Senate. Fire them, because they're not. They should be strongly representing the president and getting his agenda passed through that the people of America chose.
All right. Anyway.
Fire him.
So anyway, what he ought to do, what he should do, what he could have done, those are not important now.
Right.
We're talking about my question or my. I want to bring it to my audience
Healthcare will get
awareness
Yeah.
that we are in the impasse.
Right.
Right?
Well, we're in a
Now,
war.
Sure. We're in a war.
We're in
Let's
a war.
move on.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next issue with the would say with tax reform.
Yeah.
Talking about 35% to 15%.
Yeah, and it'll probably be 20 or 25% because they're going to have to negotiate and give and take, and that's what Trump's good at. And that will still be psychologically as well as physically with cash flow tremendously enhancing for the confidence in America and to rebuild the middle class. And I don't care about the upper class one way or another, but they create the jobs, okay? So whether we reduce their stuff, whatever, the opposition to tax reform says, oh, you're just helping rich people. Well, rich people are people too, okay? And they're people too.
Of course.
There's some really nice ones. I know a lot of rich people,
yeah,
and I know a lot of broke people.
Yeah, sure.
And having money doesn't make your character good or bad. Having none doesn't make it good or bad. Your parents created you to make you good or bad.
I agree.
Which is beautiful.
I
Okay?
agree. Yeah.
So we will get the health care pass through that I don't think will be as dramatic as I would like it to be. The government, in my opinion, should not be in our health care business. It's just that's getting to another form of government, which is tyranny and control.
Okay. And as how much they pay tax, if by percentage, I'm for the fact that everybody does the same thing.
Should have a reduction.
Should have
similar.
a reduction or whatever.
Right.
Everybody should pay the same amount of, same percentage of, same percent of your income. Right now.
Yeah,
Now, judging from different angle, you have, in the amount of dollars, you have your basic, right? The basic to be poor, poverty line, and then better off, and then rich and richer, something like that, right?
Right.
Okay.
We want upward mobility.
Yeah, we want to draw a line.
Yeah.
If you are richer, you are extremely rich, you pay a certain amount, maybe extra money. That's it. To me, only two numbers.
Yeah, and there's a point, say, if you have whatever, how much money it is, maybe you don't really need to get the Social Security, okay? And they never miss it.
I really agree. Okay. I really agree with the small news. Those pops up on the social network, saying that the Trump administration is kind of attacking very heavily to those who lie on our system.
Fraud is not my friend.
Fraud, yes.
And
fraud.
we need to, and fraud is prevalent.
Okay.
I know many people
that
are fraudulent people.
They come here to get a green card.
Yeah.
Once they get a green card, they go next door to Social Security, say, hey, I need a...
well, and there's so much fraud in the preparation of tax returns, too, that people do, okay? Yeah. I can't be dishonest. I can't sleep if I'm not living my life in as pure a way as possible.
Yes.
I can't.
Everybody's supposed to be that.
And basically...
And if you are not doing that, you are supposed to be punished.
And in my career as a CPA, where I did thousands of tax returns in that, the people, my clients that I fired were ones that wanted to cheat. I said, I can't do that.
No. Okay, last thing.
Yeah.
Last thing about immigration.
Yeah.
And how do you assess him so far, 180 days, 120 something, 20, 30 days, into his presidency, about what he has done with immigration?
Well, I like very much that already, without the wall built, and it will be built, okay, 73% less people are coming to the border because they know they're not welcome, and they're not going to get our welfare and all that jazz again. And he's going after MS-13, this gang of about 12,000 members in America, and they've got tattoos that are incredible, and they're beyond violent, beyond evil, okay? And so he's attacking them and getting them out, and then also the 800,000 illegal immigrants here that have felony records, trying to fight them and get them out of our country.
Yeah. Get them out of the country, put them in jail, no problem.
And yesterday, President
I'm talking
Trump,
about the remainder of the majority.
Well, if you got to just go one at a time.
The majority deserve a pathway to some kind of a legal...
Maybe a pathway to some legal status, but not to citizenship. I am not going to reward, although I have no power, my heart will not reward somebody that comes to my country, our country, illegally.
I don't care.
I do.
You give them a way out, some way out.
They could go out the door. They could go back too.
No. Let them stay in here because they kind of rooted. They have children. They have relatives established here. So let them stay here. Give them a way out.
But not citizenship. They do not deserve to vote in this country.
Citizenship is only a matter of time. If they stay here for one generation, and the next generation will be their citizenship. No problem.
Well,
right. It's not an absolute. It's not an absolute thing. It takes time. But one thing for sure, I want the people who are so proactive with your concept, step down a little bit. Step down a little bit. Be kind of like more on the mercy side.
It's time to step up, Jack. It's time to step up. We've let it go.
No, step down. Let them exist. To let them exist, allow them a way out. Otherwise, you're creating your rebouncers, okay? 11 million is not a small number. 11
it's
million
too big. And the only reason the border was kept open, like under Obama, is to get people in here to try to get them to be citizens and get their votes.
Yeah, let's talk about a wall. So what do you think about a wall?
I can't wait to go kiss it. I'm ready to go kiss it. We need it because it's just a part of a package of improving our immigration and accessibility to others in the world.
I used to be strongly against the wall. Now that I may capitulate to a point saying that, okay, go ahead, find the money and then go do it.
Yeah. In the press conference yesterday with the president of Colombia, was here in Trump, they had a really nice, and this gentleman just received.
He had a whole afternoon discussing with him.
It was great
yesterday.
Yeah, and it was because this gentleman is really doing the FARC, which is what the opposition was down there with very violent and everything. They've got peace now, and they're actually being able to do things, and they're working real hard on reducing the cocaine crops that then come into America. And by now, they have money to make roads and that, so the peasants that were all doing cocaine now can do regular crops. So it's going to take a long time, but it was a very exciting press conference.
To give a general overall look at the domestic major stuff, such as healthcare, such as immigration, such as tax cut.
Those three big things.
Those three big things altogether. You want to give him an A or B or C or D or even F.
See, I will give President Trump an absolute A in his commitment to try to accomplish that. I will give Congress and the media and the Democrat resistance an F for allowing it to happen. So they could probably defeat Trump's agenda with their evil and dishonorable activities to do so.
Okay, all right. That's a comment, all right? That's a statement.
Just a comment.
I don't argue because I have no time.
Yeah, right.
We're over time already. Oh, all right, my dear audience, thank you for watching today. I'm really having a good time with my dear friend, Ken Hamming, the political commentator, I call him, and of course, a dear friend of mine, dear friend of the community who I argue all the time. Now, and until next time, we say goodbye to you.